Hello friends, so welcome to the 6th lecture in the series on internal quality control. In this video, we will see about Levy-Jennings chart. Levy-Jennings chart is the most commonly used QC charts. Now here we will see how to plot the LJ charts. Let us see first from where these Levy-Jennings charts have come. So if you can remember, this is just a normal distribution curve or Gaussian curve, where you can see a central line and distributed along both the sides of the central line the first, second, third and fourth part. First part, second part, third part will now become our 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation and 3 standard deviation. So what you need to do is just to turn side this Gaussian curve so that you will get your LJ chart. Now this 1 standard deviation which was 68%, the second standard deviation which was 95% and the third standard deviation which was 99%. So this is how we derive our LJ charts. For plotting the LJ charts, first we need to determine mean and standard deviation for the said QC lot. This can be obtained by running the QC for 20 times and taking the average of all values, that is the mean of all values. It can be labeled as trial mean of the lot. With the help of mean and number of data points, standard deviation, that is SD, can be calculated. After calculating the standard deviation, we need to have up to 3 standard deviation values, that is up to 3 SD. So we need to calculate 1 SD, 2 SD, 3 SD on either side of the mean. So it will be plus 1 SD, plus 2 SD, plus 3 SD, and on negative side minus 1 SD, minus 2 SD and minus 3 SD. The mean value is called the central value, whereas the minus 3 SD and plus 3 SD values are called lower control limit and upper control limit respectively. While plotting a LJ chart, first label the charts. It should include the name of the test, name of the control material, the date of expiry and the lot material. Measurement unit of the measurand should also be included in the control charts. Now the horizontal or x-axis represents time and typically it should be extended up to 30 days per month or 30 runs per month. Divide the x-axis into evenly sized increments and number them sequentially from 1 to 30. Label the x-axis as day. The y-axis is a vertical, represents the observed control value, and we need to set the scale to the lowest and highest results expected. Generally, a useful scale is to allow for a value as low as up to minus 4 standard deviation and as high as up to plus 4 standard deviation. Mark off and identify appropriate concentration on y-axis. Label the y-axis as control value. Draw lines for mean and control limits. On y-axis, locate the values of the mean and the plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4 standard deviation as well as minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and minus 4 standard deviation. Draw lines corresponding to the points in parallel with the x-axis. After testing a QC material, whatever value we get, it should be plotted on the graph. Here in this next diagram you can see on the left side there are some points according to the days, and on the right side there is a graph which is plotted with the same points on the LJ chart. There are some more types of QC charts that are used in internal quality control. They are used to predict IQC performance. Operational process specifications charts, OP specs charts. Operational process specifications have been derived an analytical quality planning model to assess the precision, accuracy and quality control needed to satisfy proficiency testing criteria. These routine operating specifications are presented in the form of an OP specs charts, which describes the operational limits for imprecision, inaccuracy when a desired level of quality assurance is provided by a specific QC procedure. OP-Specs charts can be used to compare the operational limit for different QC procedures and to select a QC procedure that is appropriate for precision and accuracy of a specific measurement procedure. Let us see now some rules which are used to analyze internal quality control data. These are called WestGuard rules. IQC, that is internal quality control, enables the detection of day-to-day performance problems and assures the precision and accuracy of clinical laboratory tests. The QC results are evaluated against various sorts of statistical QC rules. Most commonly, the WestGuard rules, which define specific performance limits and are designed to detect both random as well as systematic error. Now we will see what are these WestGuard rules. WestGuard multi-rules. WestGuard multi-rules are used to detect trends or shift by examining individual values to determine the status of measuring system. These rules are commonly used with Levy-Jennings chart. So with the help of Levy-Jennings chart and WestGuard rules, we will see whether to accept the analytical run or to reject the analytical run. So first of all, we will see the acceptance of analytical runs. All the controls, if are within 2 standard deviation limits, the control is said to be accepted. Now we will see what are the rejection rules. So first of all, we will see the 1-3S rules, in which one of the control value is out of the 3 standard deviation. This is a rejection rule. Next, there is a 2-2S rule, which says 2 consecutive controls are outside the 2 standard deviations, or if there are multi-controls, 2 controls are outside the 2 standard deviation in a single run. So this is a rejection rules and it flags as systematic error in the measurement system. The next rule is R4S rule, in which the difference between maximum and minimum QC values is more than 4 standard deviation. So here you can see in R4S rules, the difference between the two values of the controls is more than 4 standard deviation and is a rejection rule, and it flags as a systematic error. This figure where you can see one value is outside the 1 standard deviation, whereas rest of the values are within acceptable limits. So this is called 1-2S rules, and this is the warning rules where you have to evaluate your control measurement system or testing procedure. This is not a rejection rule and the run can be accepted. The next most commonly used rule is 10x rules, where you can see all the 10 points in the consecutive 10 runs are only on one side of the mean. That is called 10x rule and it signifies systematic error. So these are some of the most commonly used WestGuard rules to determine the acceptance and rejection rules. Following this, let us see some uncommon rules which are not followed regularly. First of all is 9x rule, where 9 consecutive points are falling on one side of the mean. This is a rejection rule. Next is 2 of 3 2s rule, where 2 of the 3 consecutive points are falling to standard deviation limit. This is also a rejection rule. The next is 7t rule, where 7 consecutive points trends in the same direction, maybe in a upward direction or in a downward direction. This is a rejection rule. The next rule is 4-1s rule, where 4 consecutive points falls above plus or minus 1 standard deviation. This is also a rejection rule. Two next rules are 8x and 6x rules, which are very similar, where 6 and 8 points are falling only on one side of the mean. So this is also again a rejection rules. So here in short we will see rejection of 1-1-2s is a false rejection. 1-3s and R4s condition signifies random error. 2-2s, 4-1s and 10x signifies the systematic error. With this, I am concluding this video on LJ chart and Westgard rules. Thank you and keep following the next lectures for the more details on IQC outlier troubleshooting.